Ever wonder what the steps you or your agent need to take when you actually list your home on the market? Well, we're gonna go over all of that and more in today's video. Welcome back to the show. I'm Ryan Rodenbeck and this is my associate Matt Edwards. And today we're going to go over the steps of what you and your agent need to do when you list your home on the market on opening weekend. I want everyone to know that in the description box below, there is going to be a link to an e-paper where we cover most of the things that we covered in all of this video series, and it's the top 5 essential tips you need to do to sell your Austin home for more money.
Alright, so in the last video we covered the pre-launch process, and today we're going to cover, it's time to hit the market and hit running. So you always list homes on Thursday.
Yeah, that's correct.
Why is that?
We always list on a Thursday afternoon because it's the day of the week that brings the most demand. And what I mean by that is, if you think about it, if you list on a Monday, I mean, the whole idea of listing is to get as many people in your home as quick as possible, okay? So if you list on a Monday, people work, most people work Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. So if you list on a Friday, which would seem a logical choice, that would seem to be a very good time to list, except for one thing. Most default MLSs, if an agent sets up an auto search, it doesn't go to the consumer until the very next morning. So if you list on Friday, they may not know about it until Saturday. So we always list on Thursday afternoon.
What do the sellers need to do on opening weekend?
Yeah, so it's a very good question. The way that we structure our advertising is to bring a lot of push on that very opening weekend. So what we tell our sellers to do is to try to have something planned the entire weekend. In best case situation, they go out of town that weekend, okay? So the reason that we're doing that is we want the house to be in as pristine condition as possible. We want any potential buyers to have as much access to the house as possible. And if we're negotiating contracts, we want to be able to tell the other agent, the buyer's agent, that our clients are largely unavailable. Does that make sense?
It does, it does. And also, doesn't that kind of coincide with having open houses that opening weekend as well?
Absolutely, and we do that every opening weekend, yeah.
Perfect. The Friday, the clients are leaving first thing Saturday morning. What should they do to the home before they leave town? Yeah,
so in our previous video, which you can get in the description below, we went through the steps of coming soon and how to prepare the house to market. So the seller is going to have the staging consultation form. They need to go back and do the checklist of that. They're already going to have the pictures of the property because we do a pre-MLS coming soon campaign 5 to 7 days before the property is listed. Go through the staging consultation, reference the photos, and try to put the home in the condition it was when the pictures were taken. Now, with us, most of the time, our home stager will go back to the house that opening weekend and make sure everything's pristine.
Okay,
yeah,
that's good. What is the agent doing, say, between Thursday afternoon and Saturday morning?
Yeah, so there's a whole list that we go through, but basically what the agent's going to want to do is schedule the open house that weekend. Okay, when you schedule the open house, you're listing the property in MLS on Thursday. You're going to put the open house in MLS, and then it gets fed automatically to Zillow. Now, because we do a coming soon on Zillow, which has to be manually put in, we also want to wait a couple hours after we put it in MLS, make sure it goes into Zillow, cancel the coming soon on MLS, and also make sure that the Zillow is updated with the proper open house time and day. If it's not auto-populated, you want that put in there. Zillow's a big push for open house and people that are looking at Zillow for open houses. The way that we recommend doing things is we do a video walk through the house. The video is put on our blog, but there's not a way for Zillow to automatically upload it to upload a video to Zillow. So it has to be manually done through an actual person at Zillow Corporation. Now, we can do it through, if you have the Zillow app, which we're not a big fan of because you can do video walkthroughs on a house with a video app, but if we're doing professional video like we do, that has to be manually put in. So the agent needs to make sure that the video is manually put in. And then there's a couple more steps. So in our previous video, we gave you some steps of what the agent needs to do to prepare the home, to pre-market, and to pre-market the home, coming soon, pre-MLS. You're gonna go back to all those posts and kind of, basically redo everything you did, except where it says coming soon, you change that to just listed. And then in addition to that, you're also going to reference the open house. So they're going to basically do a Facebook ad that says, just listed, home in South Austin, open house, Saturday and Sunday from 1 to 4. They're gonna go to the agent only groups. They're gonna go, this is Facebook groups that only have agents in them. You're gonna go in and put just listed, open house date, send your clients by. You're also gonna send another e-flyer to 2,000 or 3,000 agents in that area saying the exact same thing. And then that's basically the process of having a very successful launch on opening weekend.
What are some of the key things that you like to target? Yeah,
so we keep it fairly simple. We've spent thousands of dollars, tens of thousands of dollars on Facebook advertising. And there are a lot of different demographics you can put in there to target different people. We don't do that anymore, okay? And here's why. Because the one thing we do is age. We do, 21 and up, okay? But that's the only one that we do because what we found is that if you have a hot property and you target the geographic area to where that's located, you're gonna get the people in there. But if you do a big, wide spread of all the people in, a 6-mile radius of the property, maybe even bigger than that, we get free advertising for that. And what happens with that is we see time and time again people going into the ad, putting a comment and tagging their friend that may be looking for an area. The more engagement you get off of an ad, the more likes you have, the more comments you have, the more shares you have, the bigger impact that has. And because of the things that we do when we market a property, we have a 10% engagement rate. When we started, it was like 3 or 4%. It's huge.
It makes sense, yeah. Because if somebody's going to tag somebody in that ad, they obviously know what their friend or family member is looking for. And you're casting a wider net and letting it narrow it down itself. Yeah, and then when they share it, the Facebook algorithm looks at that and say, hey, this is something that people like. I like it. Yeah, I like it. Starting the next weeks, what does the process of continuing to market that house look like? Yeah, so, the way that we design this process is that we're trying to bring out as much demand on that property as possible, okay? And because we do so many different steps in marketing the property, that, we're very successful given the right time of the year in getting the property sold that first weekend. But it doesn't always happen, I'll be honest with you, okay? Right. It happens a lot, but when the time comes that weekend's over with, you don't get any offers, then what we're gonna do is, in the last video, we said that your agent needs to set up an audience in Google Analytics, okay? The reason we did this is because once you set up an audience, basically you take the blog post and you put it in Google Audience, okay? And you get 120 people, I think it is, then, which we have by the time it's listed through the coming soon process. You have 120 visitors on the blog post where we house the listing, the 5 things we love about this home. We've got the video, we've got the photos, we've got the location. Then we're able to retarget through Google AdWords. It's the display network, and explained this a little bit in the last video, but what we do there is similar to when you find something on Home Depot or Lowe's and it follows you around the internet. So we're doing that with listings. So we continue to do that.
We check all the feedback from agents. We try to create some demand. We ask if there's anything that the buyer might want to see that would get them to write an offer on it, and then we continue pushing the property forward. But like I said, I say between the months of January and May, our days on market average are, I think, 9. So we get a lot of it done that first or second weekend.
Quick and painless.
Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah. So the next step, I think, is what you're going to ask is, when we got that offer, right?
Right.
So I'm very excited about this because, this whole series of videos is about, selling your Austin property and buying at the same time. Okay, so on our next video, which you can see right up here, or click in the description and you can see the link for the next video, we're gonna go into the steps of negotiating the contract on your home, which is super important when you're buying a new home, negotiating a lease back in the best case scenario, and then properly structuring the offer to a listing agent that is contingent on the sale of your existing home. This is really hard stuff to do. We've got it completely lined out. All the steps in all these videos are made so that we can have a proper negotiation on the home that you're buying. And we're gonna cover that in our very next video. See you then.